Hi, and welcome to the Dead Duck Film Club podcast. The Dead Duck Film Club podcast is a podcast about the world of international cinema, and just by being here today, guys, you are part of the club. Today, I am joined by Bruna and
Hi.
George. So, we're going to be talking about Audition today, actually. 1999's movie by, Takashi Miike. But before we do that, like every episode, guys, is there a movie you watched recently that you want to talk about? Who goes first?
Ladies first.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, we watched a couple different movies recently, and I've already forgotten which ones they are. What did we watch?
Memories of Murder.
That's it. We watched Memories of Murder again.
Okay, this was you watching number how many? Because you watched that one a bunch of times.
I think it's my third watch.
My second.
Okay, what made you want to put it on then? Because it felt like it was a random decision. Like I just got a text message from you guys being like, "I'm watching Memories of Murder."
Oh, yeah.
Do you want the honest answer?
Yeah.
I saw a TikTok-ish edit on Instagram of the guy doing like the drop kicks with some like hip-hop music, and I was like, do you know what would hit right now?
Yeah.
I just kept seeing it, and our cat got really into the music for it, so it kept playing for like a full 5 minutes.
How do you know if your cat's into the music?
Because he was just
Focused?
yeah,
in.
he was locked in.
Locked in. Okay.
And I was like, that is a good movie. We should watch it again.
We were picking between. I requested a rewatch because I'm a big rewatcher. So it was very much like I can't remember the other choice that you gave me, but I was like, nah, Memories of Murder is gonna hit. Yes, please. Our housemate Mahela hadn't seen it yet, so we were like, it's a fresh watch for her.
So how was it?
Awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters how many times you watch that movie. I think it's always like just so good. There's nothing about it's one of those movies that I wouldn't change anything. I think it's perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I love all the drop kicks. But I remember thinking like obviously the real murders never got solved, so that was a bit of a kind of like the movie Zodiac. Well,
You say that, they've actually fairly recently been solved.
Well,
Kind of.
yeah. There's debates about.
say more.
Well, they've accused someone of it, and that person has been like prosecuted for it.
Okay.
But the person confessed to it, but they've confessed to crimes that initially the police believed were copycats of the original murders. So they were like, these are two separate people, but this person has then confessed to all of them. So now they've changed their tune and been like, no, they were all the same person. And there's a lot of history in the case. We did a lot of homework after the movie.
Oh yeah, you would. Yeah.
That they accused lots of people like unfairly, and there was lots of evidence, obviously, of the kind of police brutality that the movie itself shows. So there's some people that still say there was a lot of pressure after the movie came out initially for them to find someone and say, nope, we've solved the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still a little bit like, did this person that's been accused of doing it actually do it, or do they just want to tick that box?
We're still
very much in
unsure.
the same way of the movie itself.
Yeah, because we don't talk about the ending of it, but the movie definitely felt like because it's a serial killer movie, isn't it? They're trying to figure out these rural murders happening, and they have a hard time because I think this is the first time they have something that complicated to kind of figure out. And it's the fact that they're so bad at their job and that they just kind of dropkick everybody to get answers, which works at some point where, it does work after
Are
a
you
while.
condoning police brutality?
No,
on the
I'm not saying
podcast?
that. I'm not saying that.
Clip that.
Okay, what else did you guys watch?
We watched Body Double, which you lent us.
Yeah,
You did.
it's not here, yeah.
No, it
Yeah.
isn't. We...
Brian De Palma joined.
What?
It's a Brian De Palma movie.
Oh,
That's the director.
That didn't sound like you was like, what are you saying? Code?
That is the director.
Yeah. Well, and I love the fact that on the DVD, absolutely nothing on the back to tell you what it's about.
Right.
It
That's
just
part of the
says
reason.
special edition with special commentary, whatever else. And I'm like, yeah, but what is it about?
So we just
Nobody
put it
knows.
on with no idea of what it was going to be. And
What was it about?
A good question.
um,
So there's a body and it doubles, okay?
no way.
Okay, go for it.
Down on his luck, actor goes home, finds his wife cheating on him, goes to some weird acting class where he has to regress in age, meets a guy who's then like, this is all bullshit. You can't do this to people. Do you want to come stay at this house that I'm like house sitting for? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? Goes to this insane mansion. The guy's really creepy and is like, hey, by the way, there's these binoculars. And over the road over there is this like sexy woman who does a dance every night. And,
The exact same dance every single night, no break.
Okay. And he immediately becomes obsessed with her and is like following her around.
Yeah.
And falls into this weird fantasy about her, and you kind of don't know what's real and what isn't. And it's like fun at the beginning, and then the end is just like, what is it?
What was the point?
I was kind of disappointed.
So you didn't enjoy it, is what you're saying?
No, I didn't love it.
Okay, you wouldn't recommend it.
Not really. I was just kind of like, it didn't really stick with me. And then we watched the commentary afterwards where the director was like, yeah, people accuse me of not being a feminist, but I love women. I love photographing women. And you're like, okay, sure, dude. And he's like, yeah, people just don't get me. It's like, it was his equivalent of like, people are all too woke these days. It was pretty much that verbatim. And I was like, did we watch the same movie?
Right.
You're not a revolutionary here. It was just a bit meh.
Okay.
But yeah, we were just, obviously with us going to talk about Audition. We were saying, it deals with a similar-ish idea of the fantasy of women and like consuming them and not really seeing them as like whole people with lives, and how easily the main character in Body Double falls into that. And then obviously with Audition, but I think Audition did it a lot better.
Yeah.
Than
We'll get to that.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
Similar vibes.
My favorite thing about it is that this guy gets hired to look after this house, specifically to water the plants. But he's got a fish tank. So if he's watering the plants, who's feeding the fish? Because no one gets hired to feed these fish.
Right.
Who's feeding the fish?
Maybe it was a cutscene where he's like, and the fish, by the way.
And I was like, it's just like, he waters the plants. We see him water the plants, but we never see him feed the fish.
Yeah, well.
Also, what was the deal with the rotating bed?
There is a rotating
Who would
bed.
ever want that? Like,
Well,
I'm sorry.
in the 70s, baby, like anything's possible. I think it was in the 70s. I can't remember actually, but yeah, I remember the rotating bed in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
So extravagant. Like you have that much room that you can have a rotating bed.
Also, the guy's the worst stalker in the world. Like, not to be given tips and points,
But like, he's so bad.
He's literally like this close. Like, he's as close as we are like right now for half of the movie where he's following her, and he's like, I'm doing a really good job. You're like, okay.
All right, moving on. I watched The Coffee Table because you lent me the Blu-ray a while ago.
I did?
Yeah, the Spanish movie. I think it's 2022, I think. It's like actually not too far back.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, which is a movie that if you talk about like any details of the plot, you'll spoil it. So it was like a fantastic experience, a horrific experience. I never want to see it again. Hard to recommend. But the basis of the structure here is that this couple, it starts with a 7-minute conversation in like a furniture store, right? Where he really wants to buy this coffee table, this horrible coffee table, by the way.
I don't think it's that ugly.
It's kind of like...
I'll be honest, I do not think it's that ugly.
I can't remember the style. It's like Art Nouveau, Art Deco.
I was going to say, it's kind of like an Art Nouveau, Art Deco-ish kind of...
It's not even. It's just this slab of glass. It's disgusting.
It is not.
I'm with the wife on this one.
It's not disgusting. It's a slab of glass on these structures of these bare-breasted women.
Two women, like, kind of holding it up.
Yeah, holding it up.
I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I don't agree.
This is why you can't decorate the house.
Wow.
It fits with nothing also that they have in their house, by the way.
True.
As soon as he brought it into the house, I was like, it's too high also. Like their sofa is here and the coffee table is there.
It is.
But I like the beginning because it's like, there's this obviously sleazy salesman who's like, this is the best table I've ever sold. Like I would need it for myself. Like,
it will
honestly.
change your life.
It will change your life, and boy does it. And then terrible things happen with this coffee table, and then the movie goes from there. I mean, yeah, it was super stressful and really on edge. A 90-minute banger. We like those. Very, very good timing. And also completely off my radar. I feel like I never heard of this
You're
at all.
welcome.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of weird because I feel like I'm somewhat plugged into movies, and then this one, blind
It's got
spot.
a remake, hasn't it? The Turkish coffee table.
There is.
Sort of
It's
just
coming out soon-ish.
Been screened in like, you know.
Yeah.
Festivals.
Yeah. Apparently it's a lot more graphic, which is interesting. Because for me, the best thing about the coffee table is that it's really upsetting, but it's not particularly graphic. Like, it's again, can't spoil it. There are some things in it that you're like, yikes. But those aren't the most upsetting things. It's everything around it that is like deeply horrifying and unsettling. So to take that and then be like, actually, let's make it super graphic. Like, I wonder what that adds or takes away from it.
We'll have to figure it out. Maybe we'll watch it. We'll see.
It does go into that new trend of like movies coming out and then instantly getting remade like a year later for no reason. That seems to be a thing now.
Yeah.
It's not even an American remake.
No, it's a Turkish remake.
It's called the Turkish coffee table.
The original is not called the Spanish coffee table.
It'd be so funny if like every remake had to have the name of the country before it. So instead of like Speak No Evil, it'd be like English Speak No Evil.
Yeah.
I want the whole like introduction, like 7-minute scene to be almost the same, except when every time they say coffee table, they go the Turkish coffee table.
I wonder if they're gonna change all the way the coffee table looks. I'm really curious as to whether they're gonna like update it or not. Like
Censor it or whatever.
That's like oh god.
I'm just thinking black bars or no. Yeah, maybe. But it is hilarious if the whole time he's like, I really need this Turkish coffee table.
It's actually the exact same movie. They just ad-lib that one. They just cut that one bit in where they say Turkish, and the rest of the movie's the same.
Also love a Spanish movie. They do good stuff.
They can't have like the same Spanish dinner though, because that's pretty essential.
That is true.
Yeah,
they go to the
they have
do you want omelette? And
what would you have in Turkey? Would you like this shish kebab? Like, do you think that's what they're going to be serving? What? That's not weird. That's Turkish food.
We just wanted to make you uncomfortable for
All
a
right,
minute.
perfect. Let's move on to Audition, please. So we're here to talk about Takashi Miike's Audition. As always, the synopsis on IMDb goes, a man mourning the loss of his wife. Here, I'll hold it.
I was going to compare the backs of it. It's okay, because we've actually got 2 copies of the same movie.
We do. That's a DVD, right? And this is the
Yeah, okay. Don't judge my DVD.
I'm not judging. A man mourning the loss of his wife holds bogus film auditions in order to find the perfect woman to replace her. But the girl who catches his interest turns out to be a much better actress than he bargained for.
That's a terrible...
It's weird that he's saying that it's weird that IMDb is saying that this guy holds multiple film auditions, because he doesn't. There's one audition in the movie. So that's not totally accurate.
I mean, the movie's not called Auditions.
Yeah.
That's true. It's called Audition. So I don't know where they got that from.
Technically speaking, it isn't fully bogus either, because they are also casting for an actual movie.
Yeah.
It just also happens to be like, some of the ones in the middle, you can have. The good ones, I want for the movie.
Yes.
So
yes,
it's
true.
not fully bogus.
This was made in Japan by Takashi Miike in 1998, probably, released in 1999. At the same time, actually, as Ringu, around the same moment as Ringu, the original Ring. So, good to know. Let's play the Rotten Tomatoes game, which is where I get you guys to guess what the critic consensus is and what the audience consensus is, and then we talk about it.
Okay.
Okay? So, how do you guys want to do this? Do you want to think about what the critic consensus is first? What percentage do you think they gave it when this movie released? I'll give you just the amount of reviews also, because that's kind of important. 81 reviews for the critics, 50,000 for the people. So do you think the critics preferred it? Or?
At the time it came out. Mm-hmm. Because I know that at the time it came out, Audition actually had quite a few walkouts. In Dublin Film Festival, I think.
Really?
There were a few walkouts. There were some people that threw up, I think, in one of the American festivals. And I think it was also in one of the American ones. Someone like shouted at him that he was disgusting and that he was sick.
You said that he should never come back to America.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But I know specifically in Dublin as well, it had walkouts. So I wonder if that will be... Part of me is like, I know it was a hit when it came out, but I'm also like, I know that people didn't fully love it at the time, and it did take some time to get that cult status.
Yeah.
Status?
Yeah, status, yeah.
So I'm like,
73.
73 for you, for the critics?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
68.
68, okay.
I'm gonna go 70.
70. Critics is 81.
Is it actually?
Yes, 81.
And this is for the time it came out.
I think so. 50
Okay.
reviews, so yeah, pretty much. The audience, though, it will be from then since now.
Okay. I mean, it's a well-loved movie, so I imagine the audience is similar. I'd say probably like 85.
73.
80%. So you win. You were the closest. Yeah, it's a well-loved movie, obviously, but it also has its critics around, like, potentially runtime, and also there's, in my opinion, there's like kind of a division of like the style of movie, right? Like it starts off as much more of a romantic, potentially a romantic movie with some dubious themes and a dubious setup, and then
That's the point.
Yes, and then it ends up being a whole like horror. Like,
that's the point.
Really gruesome horror movie. The critics' consensus actually is an audacious, unsettling Japanese horror film from director Takashi Miike. Audition entertains as both a grisly shocker and a psychological drama. There you go. George, can you set up the movie for us? What's this movie about?
This guy, his wife dies immediately.
Yeah.
His son comes in, and he's just like, says nothing to him. Literally says nothing. Literally says nothing to him, and then they walk home like 1.5 meters apart, which is really funny. And then you kind of like jump into, it's clearly quite a bit later. He's with his son. He's clearly brought up his son. They're on their own, and his son is like, "Hey, Dad, you look like shit. You need a woman in your life." And the dad's like, "No, I don't." And then very quickly pivots to, "Oh my God, I need a woman in my life." Goes to a bar with his friend, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm going to get married." And his friend's like, "To who?" And he's like, "Haven't figured that part out yet." So they kind of set up a scheme where he's like, "I create films, we'll create an audition. You want to search through hundreds of women to find your match? This is how we do it." They do that. He instantly becomes obsessed with this one woman from reading her essay that they made all of these women write. I think there was like thousands of applicants. Or
Yeah, there was, yeah. Thousands of applicants, 30 were kept.
Yeah.
And then, he read those.
He read this one, and he was like, "Nope, she's the one." And he just, is obsessed with her.
Absolutely.
And then, doesn't really know her, and then starts to know her a little bit more. And then in the last 20 minutes, it all goes.
Pretty much.
What did you think of the movie?
I really enjoyed it.
You watched it this morning for the first time. So it's a big deal. Like, what did you think? It was pretty intense. I knew going into it that it was gonna be, well, I've seen like some more of the Takashi Miike stuff with Bruna, so I kind of knew the sort of style that he does when he becomes quite extreme. So I knew that was coming, but you kind of felt like kind of on the edge of my seat waiting for it to start. Like, I can imagine the experience would have been very different if you'd have gone into it, as you say, like at the beginning, like, oh, this is a little bit of like a weird romantic setup. You can maybe see a bit of like how it might turn into a bit of a weird love story. I'm actually curious about what the original cover looked like. Did she always have the syringe, or was it?
I think so.
Yeah, because that kind of gives away that actually she's not who she says she is.
Yeah, and you can kind of, I mean, I don't know. If you fall for it, I mean, you're like him. I mean, if you start watching that movie and at any point you're like, "Ah," it's like you're him.
Right.
And I feel like that's maybe kind of the point. I obviously like, it's a bit more abstract in like which parts are real and which parts aren't real, especially at the end. Like, he's been drugged kind of, and you kind of like lose sense of reality and time of it.
A bit of a dream sequence there.
But I really like that. I think that's a kind of a thing that he does a lot of as a director, where you're like, is any of this real? But it kind of doesn't really matter at the end of it.
Thumbs up.
I enjoyed it. It was good. I don't know whether I'd rewatch it, but.
Oh, okay. Well, you're going to have to, because we're screening it next week. So.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know.
No choice. He's just going to close his eyes the whole time.
Yeah, that's fair. You can wait in the lobby.
It's interesting that you'd say that about the DVD, because at the time it came out, the DVD wouldn't have been out for ages, because the movie would have come in cinemas.
Yeah,
and
but
then
I wonder what
have...
the poster will look like. Just the original poster.
Yeah. That I don't know.
Yeah.
You can look it up.
We will.
I'm sure it looks cool.
Yeah, he's got a great sense of style. What did you think of the movie, Bruna?
I mean, I love it. I love it the first time. I've loved it the second and the third, and I think it's like my fourth watch.
Wow.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Takashi Miike. He's my favorite director of all time. I can see you both laughing. I'm going.
No.
There's no need to bring up what I think you're bringing up.
So let's bring it up. When you first introduced me to this director, you introduced him to me as...
So,
No. What did you say?
So for
Sorry. No context. Just say it first of all.
So I thought his name was pronounced Takashi Miike. For the record, I'd like for it to go on record. I didn't speak English for my whole life. I was not born in the UK. I'm a foreigner. So my English is limited.
Excuses. It's not an English name.
Yeah, it's a Japanese name,
I don't speak Japanese either. And I didn't know any Japanese, I was not brought up in like a culture that knew any of these things up until recently. So in my defense...
You look like such a weeb.
You should know this. To be fair, I also thought it was Mike for like the longest time. And
because I said that to you.
And I don't remember listening to anybody talk about it or his name ever like outspoken like that, so I never really thought. But I guess Miike makes sense. But to be fair, when you read it, there's two I's at the beginning of his name, so you're like, that's a Miike. But yeah, no.
How did you find out?
I was doing a podcast with Ghouls Mag. They'd invited me on to do an episode about fucked up movies and extreme movies that we love. And we got into the end and they were asking for recommendations. And someone else, I think her name's Amber, and she works for Fangoria. Shout out to Amber. And she recommended another movie by him. I think she'd said Visitor Q was under her big recommendations. And she said Visitor Q by Takashi Miike. And if I went back to watch it and then screen record it, you can see my face in the corner go. As I clock that I've been mispronouncing his name wrong for years.
Did you think she was wrong?
No.
Oh, you were like, Amber from Fangoria knows her shit.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is a professional.
Yeah.
I fucked up. And I have introduced so many people to his movies, so many people to him, and all of them now have the wrong name.
Oh, man. You look like a fool.
This is your chance to rectify it.
I'm so sorry.
Showing Audition is the fix.
I hope he watches this. Come on.
I'm his #1 fan, too. I love his movies, and the fact that I've been pronouncing it wrong genuinely makes me feel a bit sick.
Did you know that this movie is based on a book called Audition? Yeah, that released only 2 years before the movie was made. So it was probably really quickly adapted from him, yeah.
It's by, is it Ryu Murakami? I believe?
Yeah, someone's done her homework. That's really good.
I really like the guy. There's a remake coming out.
Of what?
Of Audition.
Really?
Yes, what? By the same guy that did the original Speak No Evil.
Whoa! So is he Dutch or is he...
I don't...
He's from those parts.
Remember?
Yeah. Up there.
He may be Dutch.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But
sweet. I mean, looking forward to that.
I think his is meant to be mostly based on the book, but obviously so is Miike's Audition.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
It's a remake as well as an adaptation. I think it's a bit of both from what I've heard, but...
I thought it was interesting in the movie when if you went in blind and you'd not seen the poster or the trailers, and you're genuinely thinking, is she evil? Because Mandy, my wife, was next to me while I was watching it, and she was like, I've never seen this. And she had no idea. And so when, obviously, our main character comes in, and she comes in for the audition, she looks very, nearly like a child. Like, she wouldn't be able to hurt a fly, right?
Yeah.
She's very timid. And you're thinking, okay, well, she might be a good match-ish. Although the reason why he wants to go with her are a bit dubious, right? Because originally he says, well, she, I need she could, I remember that. She can be just any girl. She doesn't have to have a career, but she needs to be nice. And he lists all this stuff out.
He's like, because we watched it this morning, it's fresh. He's like, she needs to be mature.
Yeah.
And she needs to be accomplished.
Yes.
She doesn't have to be a career woman, but she has to be accomplished. So he's like...
He can't afford that.
Yeah.
He can't afford somebody that's a professional in these things.
But she has to play piano or do ballet or sing, something like that. She has to be accomplished and mature.
Because he says that he wants somebody that's confident. They need to have a certain confidence. They can't be insecure about themselves. But then what he picks is a woman who has been through who has nobody else in her life, and she explains that, who... And you find out later on in the movie has been telling him about the trauma that she's experienced.
Well, actually, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I really am curious to like what your take on the ending is actually. So he picks her, and then he becomes infatuated with her, where he just can't stop thinking about her. And the first time you realize that something might have gone wrong is like a 2-second clip that just like brutally cuts with, it's either that room that she's in, or it's her in front of the phone waiting for the phone call. And his friend actually says like, why'd you want to go with her? Like, you're going too quickly, buddy. Like, this is too fast. And you have this whole kind of montage where he's like, oh, shouldn't I call her? Because he promised his friend he wouldn't call her. And then you realize that she's just waiting by the phone the whole time.
It's funny that you say that is the point where you realize it's gone wrong.
I was
Because
gonna
for
say the
me,
same thing.
instantly, it's like, this is horrifying.
Well,
The idea of like... yeah,
oh, right.
It's like, that's not where it goes off. Like, for me, the concept of it, the instant obsession with somebody who you don't know but you think has gone through this, like, this traumatic experience, the way he like takes what should actually be like obviously the whole interview scene is played off very like funny and like snappy, but a lot of the things they're asking them are like really awful and uncomfortable, and then
You're
takes
right.
what should be a professional experience for somebody looking for a role and makes it like he's so condescending when he talks to her about like...
Do you mean the guy who's interviewing them? Because the other
Both.
guy...
Both of
Well,
them.
he doesn't speak much, the other one. Actually,
Well, when
the
he's
first-
talking to the main woman, he's
Yes.
the only one that speaks to her.
Yes.
And it's just that sort of condescension about like, oh, you're so like, to have been able to come to this realization so young. It's that classic like, you're so different, you're so special, you have an inner thought monologue and you've experienced things. That's crazy. I didn't know women could do that.
Well, it felt genuine to me, though. It felt like he was actually...
Yeah, but he does mean it, but that doesn't make it any less
Yeah,
condescending.
but that's not worse. That's worse. It's not that he's like, oh, I don't. He believes that. The sincerity is also what's like shocking and weird.
Fair.
He doesn't know her. He doesn't know anything about her. And the reality is, if she wasn't, who she is within the movie, if that had been anyone else, she's come in there for a job and for a role, but they've made it about their weird obsession with who she is personally rather than her, the reality of her. And that's the whole thing with the movie, and like I mentioned with the idea of body double, it's about the fantasy of who women are and who they are for you, rather than the reality of a whole human being and their experiences. And that for me is that like really uncomfortable thing. And he can't see that, and it makes the whole thing inevitable. I don't think she is the villain, but also it's his fault. Like,
Go on.
I was just gonna say, it's really interesting again that you're like, it starts going off the rails at that scene, because when I'm listening to her speak, and it's like you said, she walks in, she's very timid, very shy, she's very thin, she's wearing all white as well, and she's saying like all the right things. She's saying all the things that men like him want to hear.
Yeah.
And that instantly makes me go, something's wrong, because people don't speak like that.
Right.
Normal human beings, normal women don't talk like that. But she's hitting all these points and saying all these things that he wants to hear. And I'm like, she's up to something. Like, not even if she's up to something, but it's like something is wrong because people don't talk like this.
Yeah, it does feel like she plays him also
She
as
does.
much as
Absolutely.
he plays her, because every time they meet, she's like, oh, I've been waiting for your phone call. I'm sorry, I'm so nervous. I was just so excited to see you again. Which would work on me, to be honest. I'd be like, yeah, cool.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, the whole audition process is kind of filmed in a comedic way, where they play off like the fact that these women are like desperate for the job, and they are like dancing and singing badly and
Getting naked.
That was a kind of a weird one actually, where he's like, "Can you take your top off?" It's like it's just such an overpowering kind of dynamic, isn't it? And
So did they ask them, like, have you ever done porn? Have you ever been in the porn industry? Would you be willing to have sex on camera? And they're playing it off as a joke, but it's like, these are really invasive, weird questions to ask.
there's a scene where the woman is like, yeah, I've done that before, and he's like, yeah, okay, not for this.
yes, I clocked that. Yeah.
Creepy.
And as someone who, like, obviously with an understanding of the industry, like Takashi Miike, like, I wonder, like, people talk about it all the time, like going into like acting and that kind of, again, not to bring up like Body Double that we watched recently, but that had a lot of it about like a woman in there being sort of like taken advantage of, and how you often you need this role so desperately. You want this like success and this attention, and what you have to do is you have to please the person sitting in front of you, and it just is like it and it's but I think obviously that's reflective of like a wider thing of his idea that he wants a wife, but he doesn't know who yet. He doesn't care about them as a person. He has a checklist, and they need to fit the role, and they need to be able to play the role that he needs properly. And it's like just very reflective of a lot of things that are being discussed at the moment about how people don't want like partnerships. If you look at like a sort of a trend in like conservative media,
right?
It's like the idea of like trad wives and being like, well, my wife needs to do this, 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 and this.
Right.
And my husband needs to do this, 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 and this. It's not about communicating with people. As the whole point at the beginning of the movie, where it's like the loneliness, like everyone in Japan's lonely.
I was saying we were rewatching it, and I was like, watching it again. It's interesting to see that our movie from like 1999 is still so current, and it touches on the topics of things like the male loneliness epidemic and trad wives and all that. Even though the movie is talking about things that were topical then, now it's still so like...
It's very topical now.
This is
27 years later.
Yeah, this is still... The conversations we're having are still... nothing's changed. And it's insane to think that someone made this point then, and they're still making it now, and it's... I know.
Yet he's our hero nearly, but...
No, he isn't.
Well, he's
the main character.
Yeah, okay, he's the main character, but at the end, do you want him to survive this horrible ordeal?
Kind of.
In the same way that you want any human being to survive.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's not like I'm not rooting for him.
Yeah. No, okay, yeah, fair enough.
It's like I want people to survive in general. Like I don't want anyone to die or suffer, but like I don't like him.
Yeah, okay.
But that doesn't mean I want him dead.
It's like, obviously, do we ever hear the wife's name?
Yes.
Okay, I just couldn't remember.
Ryoko?
Yes, yeah. I was just thinking about how much we sort of learn about the wife. Is obviously the premise of the movie is that he is grieving his wife.
Yeah.
But what we actually see is him grieving what it, like, provided.
You think?
Him. Well, we hear a lot about, like, he has a cleaner and sort of this thing of, like, you have a woman and she'll cook, like the son's thing about like, well, make sure whoever you go with is a better cook than.
Yeah.
And it's then like later on revealed that he was kind of having sex with his employee.
Yes.
Which.
That's actually really interesting because, go on, sorry, finish that.
Go for it.
Well, just that we have this scene where he seems to be like managing these people at his company, I guess. And there's this girl that comes up to him timidly and goes, "I'm getting married." And he's like, "Okay." And she seems really upset about his reaction, and then we don't know why for the longest time.
It's not that I thought I made the joke. I'd seen it before, but I was still like, she just wants time off, and he won't give it to her. And I just thought every time she comes in, she's just like hoping he'll be like, yeah, take the week off, and he just won't give it to her.
Yeah. she can't bring herself to like, can I get some time off, please?
See, I thought initially, like obviously before it was revealed that he'd slept with her, I thought it was supposed to be sort of a parallel between him being quite excited about the prospect of getting married and that improving his future, and actually the flip side of that she's getting married, but that actually means that she's maybe more unstable in her life. You think about like the problems that you have in the workforce, especially in Japan, which is very traditional, to then be like, I'm getting married. The expectation is then you will have kids and then you'll be off work.
Yeah.
Your career is like destabilizing. You don't have that security in that. So I thought that was initially going to, and I think it's still kind of there, because you have the parallel of her sort of nervousness of like, well, I'm getting married, like, and him being like, yeah, I'm gonna go get married. I'm gonna find a woman.
Yeah.
And it's that sort of back and forth
nonchalance about the whole thing, where for her it's like a life-changing decision.
And it's like crazy that he doesn't even think about the fact that he, like, as the boss of the company, he slept with this woman. She's clearly been anxious about this for a very long time, thinking like, well, if I go with anyone else, will that like negatively impact me? Will he be upset about that? Will I lose my job? Will I be penalized? Will he be like, actually, no, you still have to sleep with me? And he's not thought about this at all. Like, it's not even occurred to him. He's like, oh yeah, I did do that.
Yeah.
Which,
He seems to have a quite normal life at home. Like, his kid seems to be quite normal to me. I mean, he loves dinosaurs, like...
I was like, that's the dream life. Him having his first date with them sitting on the floor being like, so there's this dinosaur, and this thing. I was like, oh, I'm so jealous. I need that. I want that so bad.
I genuinely turned around and I went, George, that's you. That's your dream date right there. Because I was like, this man loves dinosaurs. That's so you, Coach.
And you know,
oh, if someone said to me like, "Do you want to come home and like have a look at my dinosaur books?" I'd be like, "Hell yeah, let's go."
That's how we kidnap you, basically.
I was gonna say, if anyone is trying to get George's attention, just bring a bunch of dinosaur books. That's it. That's all you need.
And even his room is full of dinosaurs. Like his room is full of plastic dinosaurs all over. He seems like a cool little kid. I mean, you know, he's really
He's great. I like the kid.
he looks out for his dad. He's like, we gotta get you, you know, a partner, you know. And he also doesn't seem to have a massive connection with his dad because he keeps kind of running away from their meal. He eats really quick, and that's just maybe just being a teenager. And he's like eating really. By the way,
He's got dinosaurs to learn about.
he eats like, I think this like maybe a Japanese thing where they bring the bowl to the mouth and then they kind of scoop everything in. That really bothered me for a bit.
You have to with the chopsticks, especially the last bit.
I didn't see it chopped. I saw a spoon.
But still, like it just.
Okay, well, you can just.
How do you eat?
I don't bring the bowl to my face.
You bring your face to your bowl.
No, the spoon does the.
You don't want to get it messy. You know?
Okay, I guess. Well, it put me off.
Wow.
I judged
Clearly-
it right then.
clearly
It was really a
chocolate
thing.
to you.
I was like, I turned around. I hadn't spoken the whole movie, and I looked at my wife, and I was like, don't like that.
That's the bit that has you like, nah.
Yeah. And yeah, he seems pretty well adjusted. And it's actually kind of, I wonder if there's anything in that because he brings a girl home. So it's also about like, the kid having like relationships because he brings a girl home and she's like, he was on the train and we had a chat and I really like dinosaurs. So he invited me to his place. So here I am.
I mean, that would work on George.
Yeah, that would work on George.
So.
And it seems to be going fine. But then later on in the movie, he's like, I don't understand women or I don't understand girls or something. So I'm wondering, is there anything in that? Or is he just like, she didn't like this specific dinosaur? I don't know.
I think the thing he says before that is she's complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's complex or something.
It's like classic thing of like, damn, like women are so like I can't understand them. It's like I don't know.
Women
what
are
they're
human
saying.
beings with thought. Whoa.
And it's like goes from and I think there's that kind of like, you know, he is a teenager, but it is also that sort of. Oh, there was this pretty girl and she was pretty, and then like she came to my house and I realized that she was like a whole person, and then she like maybe wanted things, and like I couldn't just show her what I liked, and then we had to do, and that's like, and I don't know what she wants, and it's like and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that's because that's a whole human being,
Right.
and it goes with like the whole premise right at the beginning that's like everyone is lonely, partially because you're not
interested in communicating with the person.
you don't want to know like each other is full like having a relationship is messy even if it's the best one in the world, like platonic romantic. We're human beings and we're strange and awful and awkward sometimes, and you have to sit with that.
Sure.
And when you're very tied up in the idea of someone and the idea of what romance and a relationship should be, you never get past into like a real relationship. You can't get past that because you never let the person next to you be a full person. And for me, that's like the whole movie.
It's also that like that's what he learns from his dad is that, you know, to see women in that like almost other kind of way.
Like an accessory.
Yeah. So for him to finally actually meet a girl and have her be a whole human being, to him it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because he's
Too
never
much.
really, the way his dad, obviously he didn't grow up with his mom that much because she died when he was quite young. And his dad clearly sees women as accessories, as you said.
Sure.
So for him, it's almost that like he's finally seeing that girls do exist as actual human beings.
The scene where the dad like meets her is interesting as well because she tries to tell him more. As soon as she's like, "Hi, this is my name," and he's like, "Cool," and he walks away. But she's trying to tell him more, like, "Oh, this is how we met, and I'm really interested in biology." He does not acknowledge her at all. Like he literally does not care.
He did offer his meal.
Yeah, well, yeah,
But not to
when
her
he-
face.
Yeah. Well, it's more just like when he meets her, she's like, "Hey, yeah, I'm like into this, and this is how we met, and I'm just, I wanted to come do this," and he does not acknowledge, and he's
Where are
like,
your parents? Where'd you
No.
come from?
yeah,
He's like, I'm
then
gonna
he
go
was
walk
just
the
like,
dog.
Yeah.
and then he just goes to his son, nice, and then leaves. And you're like,
Literally. Yeah.
And it's a bit like, oh, she was maybe trying to tell you a little bit about herself as a person to
Yeah.
like get to know you.
Yeah.
As you
you
do when
fucked
you're
up.
awkwardly around and you're just kind of like,
Nah.
really couldn't give a shit about you.
The dog's called Gang, which I thought was really fun. Dog's called Gang. Gangu, I think, but
Yeah.
they translate it to Gang. I didn't know
dog.
that was a name.
Anything's a name.
I think it's cool.
Anything's a name. What do you mean?
It's called Gang. It's kind of sweet. I don't know. It's a cool name.
What does Takashi Miike have against dogs?
Yeah, honestly.
So this is the only movie from Takashi Miike that I've watched. But yeah, that dog doesn't make it, unfortunately.
Oh, you should.
Ichi the Killer.
No.
Is that not the first scene?
No. That's you're thinking of Dead or Alive.
So not in Ichi the Killer.
In a slightly different one.
Oh yeah.
In Dead or Alive, one of the first scenes, there's this Yakuza group that are meeting in like this restaurant or something, and there's this little yappy dog outside being really annoying. And this guy is like, I'll deal with it. And he goes outside and grabs the dog and just starts smashing it about. It's very clearly fake as well, but he just starts like smashing it about.
I don't.
It is so funny.
It's very clearly a toy. And
Right.
it's just like.
It's like, dealt, done.
I think that was the
Sorted
first.
it.
You were like, we're gonna watch this movie, and the first scene, this guy is gonna like swing
This dog around.
Chihuahua
Which movie is
pallet.
this?
I think it's Dead or Alive,
Okay.
the first one, because there's
Okay.
3 of them.
Okay. Okay.
Comes out of nowhere.
It's such an intro because, to be fair, that does describe the whole movie.
It does
It
set
just,
the tone, but
yeah,
watching this one, I was like, damn, he really don't like dogs.
No,
Yeah,
not a
honestly.
big fan of dogs. Did you guys know that the main character, the actress is called Eihi Shiina? She didn't audition for the role of Asami, actually. No, she went for a meal with Takashi Miike, and they had like this really deep philosophical like conversation. Apparently, she left that thinking that was nice, and then the next day she got a phone call, and he was like, "Do you want a role for this movie that I'm making?" Yeah.
Shit.
Interesting.
So
interesting. I remember reading a little bit about her playing the character as well, and a lot of it was her like she really identified with the character, and I know a lot of the scenes were from her and Takashi Miike kind of ad-libbing off each other and kind of like making up the character on the spot because it was very much her character. She very much like took it very personally, which I just think is quite cool. But it was less of like a role that was written and then auditioned for, and more of a like
I believe
she's made it into her own thing.
Yeah, there was some on the spot kind of like making up the words and stuff like that.
I know the very iconic kitty, 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 kitty was something that I think Takashi Miike came up on the spot.
She also apparently was part of that. Yeah.
I think they were kind of like talking about it, and
What's the weirdest thing I can say while I'm putting needles into
and
this guy?
they came up with the whole kitty, 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 kitty thing,
Yeah,
which is just so cool,
it's pretty cool.
so sick.
That was my next one actually. Yeah, it was partially improvised.
Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin your fun fact.
I ruined it. Can't clip this for social media now.
I know.
Asami is dressed almost entirely in white throughout the film.
Except for one red coat.
Yeah, a really cool coat, by the way.
Oh, that
Really
coat
cool
is
coat.
So sick.
So sick.
I remember there's this scene where you see them from a bit afar, and they're crossing a road, and he's wearing this long kind of khaki coat or something, and she's wearing a big red coat, and I was like, bring back coats, man! Like bring back long coats.
Hell, yeah.
I love them.
And obviously the butcher's outfit, kind of, which has got a bit of beige in it.
Yeah,
Grayish.
it reminded me of what you wear quite a bit, actually, because at the end there's like this
Thank you.
whole kind of thing going on, and I was like,
I was
Bruna,
really trying to like dress as much as I could in her outfit today, so I got like the little corset and the chains and everything.
Yeah, is that who you represents you the best in this movie?
In terms of fashion, yes. In terms of anything else, absolutely not. To be fair, she wears mostly white, which I don't wear.
So the white is associated with death and purity
Yeah.
in Japanese culture. Miike wanted her to read as ghostly from her very first scene, and she does appear as ghostly.
Yeah.
Because to me, she's so thin, and she's got a bit of like youth in her cheeks. She's a bit boyish, I think, in her cheeks. She's like a little boy, which I thought was weird that he was attracted to that. But
What?
well, he looks like a little boy.
Man sees a beautiful woman, and he's like, that's a boy.
I didn't find. Well, I mean, no. She is beautiful, but to me, she was a bit scary.
She's haunting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's haunting. Thank you.
We said about the sex scene.
Yeah.
We were like, with the sheet over her, she's like a corpse. And
Oh, yeah.
the way that they drag it up her and her feet are dead still, and it slowly revealed. We were like, she looks like a corpse straight up. It felt like it was deliberate.
That's
Well,
a good
yeah.
shot. Let's talk about that because he goes for a few dates with her, and which becomes a bit confusing towards the end because of that flashback. But whatever, they have the date. It goes fine. He's obsessed with her, and then he tells his kid, "I met someone. I'm going to propose to her. you'll meet her soon.
Yeah.
And I'm
He's
like,
on that
you don't want to
lesbian.
reverse that?
He's on that lesbian timeline where he's like 3 dates and we're done.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Damon. Well, at the beginning they said, "Would you want to go for an arranged marriage?"
Yeah,
So
that
it's
was
just kind
also
of like-
interesting. And he was like, not my vibe. But he
I
arra-
want to
it's-
know her, but he does.
But he
arrange-
doesn't. I want it to be arranged by me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they go on this, they go out for like a weekend, basically, or a night out, which we don't see much of, like the traveling to that, but whatever. And they're in this room, and he's kind of a bit awkward. He's like, shall we go to the museum?
Should we go to the? Should we? If we go to the gallery, we'll make it there before we shut. And then there's a cat, and she's actively like taking off her clothes. And he's like, and we could go and get some coffee. And she's giving a dessert, and she's like getting naked.
And he's like, what about my cheesecake?
He's like, oh, I guess no cheesecake.
And she gets in the bed, and as you said, she's ghostly, and she tucks herself in, and then she invites, I remember, tell me if I'm wrong, you saw this a bit more recently than I have. She invites him to the bed, and then he kind of gets into it, but then I want you to see me, something along those lines.
He goes to get undressed. She goes, no, don't get undressed
Please
yet.
keep the clothes
And
on.
he's
Which
like,
is so funny to be like,
jacket back on.
full on, full jacket, full regalia, everything. He's like, okay.
Just stands
Awkward.
like this for quite a while she like monologues.
A
at
bit,
him
yeah.
And
Looking like a corpse.
Yeah, shows the scar.
She shows the scars on her thighs, and she's like, I think it's kind of a genuine, I'm opening up to you. I want you to see every part of me. I want you to love me for who I am. And she ends up saying, will you love me forever and only me, right?
Yeah.
More importantly, me, only me, nobody else. And in his mind, he's like, for sure. But I don't think he understood that, like, that meant only me. Like, you can't love
Your son.
your son. You can't love your dog. You can't love your ex-wife. Well,
Yeah.
sorry, your dead wife. Didn't know what else I was to say that. And if it's maybe I read this wrong, but the next day she's gone. Is it because she figured out there and then that he had a son? Because I don't think he brings it up, or maybe he does at that point, and she's like, "Oh, you can't love me and only me."
I think she knew he had a son.
Yeah.
I think that was maybe a test. Because at the end she says, all you do is, you're all the same. You all tell me that you all say that you love me and only me, but it's never true. You always have someone else.
Yeah.
So I think it's maybe implied that she does the research beforehand, and she will wait to see what they say to her to figure it out.
Do you think she was hoping that he would say, "Well, actually, I have to love my son also"?
I think it's like routine for her at this point.
Oh, you
And
think she knew she was going to kill him?
I think she's expecting it. I think there's a part of her she's always hoping that it isn't that, and she's genuinely looking for something, but she doesn't think she'll find it. Like there's
Right.
that hope there, but I think she's always kind of planning around
Right.
just that not.
I don't think she's ever expecting a specific answer from them.
Yeah.
I think she's just kind of seeing where it goes. And then she leaves because it doesn't really matter what they say in the end of the day. They're never going to be able to be what she's after.
I think it's interesting that afterwards with his friend, the friend's like, oh, well, what happened? The guy's like, well, yeah, you know what happened. He's like, that's not enough for her to leave, you know what? And they don't tell you what that is for quite a while, and it's never really confirmed. Like, obviously, in his like weird drug flashback, you're like, oh, he asked her to marry him. Maybe. Did that actually happen?
Yeah.
Like, we don't know. What did actually happen on that night? We never really know. We never really know the truth of it.
No.
So, because initially you're like, he was like, oh, there was a bit of a misunderstanding. It didn't like go well or whatever. And you're like,
What does that mean?
well, we had a hard cut with you guys maybe going at it, and then we don't know what happened after that. So it's left very ambiguous and kind of weird.
I think it's implied they slept together.
Yes, yeah. But initially just to be like, it went a bit weird and a bit wrong, and then she left, and then you're like, well, okay, what happened?
Yeah.
And then his friend is like, what did you do, huh?
Yeah, they actually fight about it. So he goes back and he meets up with his friend, and his friend is basically like, you're a loser. You're a Japanese lonely man. And then I guess they break off at that part of being friends for a bit. He also mentions that the movie's not going ahead, actually, when they enter that room. He's like, movie's not happening. Shame. And like, you think about those 1,000 girls who had to write essays about what makes them special and dance and get naked, and it's just, ugh.
To be fair, that's the state of the job market.
It is
Yeah,
the state of the
honestly.
job market, for sure, for sure. So then obviously after that, this is when it goes into a bit of a crime thriller where you kind of follow the blood and you follow the all the evidence that shows you that she's not who you think she might be. She's a bit unhinged, and I believe he goes to the dance thing first,
Yeah.
the ballet class, and then you find out that he is the one who burned her because there's that flashback. But he was also obsessed with her, I think, but as a kid, and she was abused by him as a kid, is what I understood. And then he cut his feet off, I think, or maybe he never had feet.
I thought it was implied that he was the uncle. Because it said, my uncle was disabled, he couldn't walk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he, like, tormented me.
Yep.
So I thought that was...
Okay, yeah, possibly.
I also thought that, but I could be just inferring.
That's the thing about this movie, like, you have to infer quite a bit of it.
One thing I'll say is I mentioned this to George, and I do not know whether this is me just drawing an absolute parallel that isn't there, but when I first watched Audition, and I then, not that long after, watched The Handmaiden, I thought the uncle from The Handmaiden was based off of the uncle from Audition. Because they look very similar. I thought they were the same actor for ages. They're very much not, but I'm blind. But they have the same glasses, and they're styled super similarly for no reason. Yeah. And I always thought that the uncle in The Handmaiden was like very loosely based off of the appearance of the uncle in Audition.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Which is why I also think it's the uncle.
Yeah. And the jacket.
Yeah.
I saw it. When you said it, I was like, no, I can see that.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's deliberate or not, or whether that's just me, but I always thought that. So it's part of me is like, oh, he's got to be her uncle because that's just the uncle look.
Yeah.
That's what the
Japanese uncle look.
Exactly. I'm like, that's what uncles look like.
Handmaiden is Korean.
Yeah, but he plays a Korean character. He wants to be Japanese. He wants to be Japanese.
Exactly. He's going for the Japanese uncle.
Yeah.
Look. He's trying.
He saw that and he was like, I got to do that.
Exactly.
And then, of course, well, something that just came to mind. We skipped over it, but like she gave false-ish information during her audition, and that was the first kind of red flag that he actually checked. While his mate was like, "She's not telling the truth. There's something up here," and he's like, "Wow, she's too pretty. It's fine. It's fine. She's too. I gotta go with it, man." Yeah. And then he brings it up, and it seems like he feels bad about the audition thing because he brings it up on their first date, and he's like, "I need to complain. There's no." Actually, he doesn't complain. I think he says you didn't get the part or something like that.
She brings it up.
Yeah. Okay.
She says like he mentions it, and then she's like, "Oh, I didn't get the part, did I? I know I didn't."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, well, the movie's not going ahead," which the movie also is like not going ahead. So that bit's true, but he doesn't tell her like, "I just did this to find a partner."
Yeah. Fair enough.
He keeps that pretty.
And after the ballet studio, we go to the second piece of information he has, which is about this bar that she used to work in, where she killed the woman who owned it. Am I right in thinking that? Because she didn't get along with her?
I think she killed a few people there.
No, the woman who owned the bar is the girlfriend of the guy at the record place.
Oh!
Her fake agent. That's one of the first things we find out is that the agent that she like said, "Oh, I'm with this guy." She's like, "Oh, it's actually not official." He's then missing.
He's been missing for like 18 months.
For like ages. And then when you meet the neighbor outside of this bar, he's like, "Oh, she went missing. People say it might have had something to do with her boyfriend. She was like dating this record like executive."
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay, that was the girlfriend. She might have just completely lied about working there.
Yeah.
I think so all of those things were something he could have easily checked up on and didn't follow the trail. Yeah. That's why I think she knows and she did it deliberately. She was like, I'm giving you all the information. It's there. You can go find it if you were interested in me as a person or you want to look at these things. And she's lying, but she's doing it on a really surface level. It easily.
Yeah, it does reinforce that thing that you brought up that he's not interested in her as a person, just her appearance and her like naivety and how young she is, probably. Okay, and then after that, obviously, I think it's the home invasion thing, right? Pretty much, like pretty much happens.
Yeah, we get some weird, like, kind of not those weird dream drug-induced weird scenes.
There's a few of them here.
Because you have when the neighbor's talking about like they found the body, but there were 3 extra fingers and a tongue.
Oh, and he sees
and he then sees it, and he starts freaking the fuck out about it, and he's like having these weird flashbacks of like the different women in his life and like missing body parts and all of that.
Yeah, there's a few of those kind of like unhinged dreams in there. Yeah. By the way, Is that bag real? In my opinion,
I don't think it matters.
I don't know. That's
I don't
my
think it
opinion.
matters.
It doesn't matter?
I don't think so. I don't think it changes the point of the movie whether it's real or not.
Okay.
Because I initially like sat there, especially when I first started watching like a couple of the Takashi Miike films, and I was like, wait, so is this actually happening? Is this actually happening?
Yeah.
I found like I've tried to like stop getting bogged down in
Yeah.
it and be like, what is it? Yeah, what does it mean rather than is it real? I guess because you see it in like the clips of her on the phone, and you like have that jolty like insane movement.
Yeah, in the bag.
Yeah.
And then he dreams that he's there and he sees the guy coming out of the bag with no limbs and he's fed the throw up and all that. That was cool.
That man. Oh my god.
It was. I had just finished telling George that there had been walkouts and people vomiting during the original screening, and we were talking about that. And as that happened, George was like, "I'm gonna throw up," and I'm like, "Right, yeah, that's exactly how it happened."
It's when he falls back on his head in the at the home. So she drugs him. You actually see that POV of her drugging, I think, taking the bottle and putting something in it. And then he obviously falls on his back, and then then the drug-induced dream happen, which kind of fills in a few blanks, but also makes things very confusing because you get a flashback of multiple of their first dates, and on the first flashback, she doesn't say that she had a normal childhood like she does at the beginning of the movie. She goes, actually, my childhood was messed up. So the question is, did he ignore that? Did that actually happen, but he didn't care? So he kind of made up his own thing, trying to find the green flags while he's presented red flags, basically.
Again, I think it's one of those things where it's like, I don't think it matters because at the end of the day, no matter what she said, he would have ignored it. So
Right.
It doesn't matter whether she said my life was fine or whether she said, actually, I was abused, because he doesn't really care about who she is. So whatever she said, he would have walked right past it anyway because he doesn't want her. He
Yeah.
wants the idea of her.
Yeah.
It's
So,
also,
yeah.
it's lined up very much in the second conversation where they're on the second date, where I think what they're saying is verbatim what you see the first time you see it, but there's extra kind of information in there. It's like added in. So I think at least for that one, it's kind of more implied that we saw the bits that lingered in his mind. For me, that's like when we're seeing that flashback, that's maybe him seeing the full picture,
Right.
whether he heard all of those words verbatim or not. But I feel like that was the full picture.
Why? So all those red flags are actually coming up and being like, you missed all of these.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas what we see the first time round is his obsession. This is what he lingered on. Like this is what was going around in his mind all the time because you hear him like repeating these conversations.
Fair, yeah.
And you get that at the end. That's like the end scene, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's that the repetition of that conversation and that sort of thing that hooked him in and made him be like, yeah, she's the one.
Yeah.
And he still hasn't quite let that go. That's still what he's thinking when he looks over and sees her, like her body. It's that thing of like, oh, it still could have kind of that. I feel that kind of like
She's so pretty, though.
It could have been, you know. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it could have been if only she wasn't that. If only she was what, you know. If only it was this instead of the, you know.
Well, we got to talk about it kind of goes from 0 to 100 in terms of violence in the movie.
Yep.
Because she then becomes a bit of a sadist where she's like, I'm going to give you this drug. Your nerves will be like super sensitive, but you won't be able to move. And then she pricks all these little things in him.
Free acupuncture.
Free acupuncture, to be fair.
People pay top dollar for that.
Even under the eyeballs. And that was messed up. But not as messed up as the chain, obviously, where she cuts his leg off.
His foot.
His foot, sorry.
That's like the happiest you see her in the whole movie. I've said it's,
Yeah.
it's the only time you see her genuinely
Smiling.
expressing emotion rather than just like, not to use the word, but like demure, like
Mindful.
"Oh, I'm so.
Yeah.
It.
I'm so cute.
She's actually like she's interested, she's exciting, she's moving in like an aggressive, very physical way. And every single other time you see her, it's very dainty. It's very like she feels the most genuine in that specific moment in the whole film for me. It's like
Yeah.
you're kind of seeing
Yeah.
Her.
And she killed the dog.
She did.
She did kill the dog.
I mean, she killed a lot of people. I don't think the dog is.
I know, but the way you see the dog is kind of it's great filmmaking, I think, where you just see because it's a fake dog. If they lingered on it, you'd be like, that's a fake dog. But they open a door for like a second, and you
he's
see
there.
the dog with his face the opposite way it's supposed to be, and you're like, oh my god, Like, yeah, that was distressing.
We were joking that it needed a millennial trigger warning on it.
Like the millennials are going to lose their mind when we show it if they find out the dog dies.
That's cool.
We were saying it's really funny that it's not funny, but it's interesting how trigger warning for like obviously like animal abuse and animal death is like a really big thing, but then like a trigger warning for like people dying, like in the movie, it's just not as equally done.
No.
And I get
because we see dogs as pure innocent creatures.
Yeah. I get that
not so much.
But yeah, it's just that sort of like someone can die in a film like in a gruesome and horrific way.
Sure.
Or like
God forbid you see 1 second of a dead dog, you know?
Listen, I didn't like it, but I do think it's good that they did that they showed that they didn't leave it open. You're like, okay. But at the same time, I felt like the dog was there to be killed, or maybe to give the image that they were like trying to be a family or something. But yeah, poor gang.
Poor gang.
R.I.P.
I think it's just one of those things where it's like, it's just they're human, you know. He has a dog. He may be a dickhead and kind of sleazy, but he's got a dog and a kid. You know, it's just one of those things that's like, this is just a normal guy, and he's kind of representative of the mentality that a lot of these guys have.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously she comes out, the kid comes home early, and there's a scene of her injecting him with something, right? And then it kind of
spraying.
Oh, I thought they might have switched it around, but yeah. So the spray, and he like does a really cool like what? He's just like a bit of a duck, and he's like, "Who are you?" And he's a bit scared. And then it's kind of, I don't know if it's like cathartic really the way she dies, but he kind of just pushes her down the stairs. Yeah. And she breaks her neck, which is quite gruesome. Like, you can see it under the skin, and she's kind of breathing through that. And then you have the beautiful shot of her lying down and the monologue of, like, what could have been. Yeah.
The scene of her being kicked off the stairs, man, it's so goofy. Yeah. With her, like, she's kind of, like, shrimping it. I'm, like, really into the movie, but I had to take a second to be like, oh, man, that's so goofy.
Yeah.
It's like, it's such a shame. And, like, I get it. But yeah, I don't think it is. I don't think it is cathartic. I think it's kind of just like deeply disappointing. Our friend.
I was gonna say.
You watched this. You watched Audition maybe 2 years ago.
About
this time.
March, I think.
About this time, because I was away, and our housemate watched it, and her response was she just cried. So like on and off for like the whole like second half of the movie.
I was sitting next to her, and I was like...
When did you start crying?
She started properly crying at the end when it was over, but she kind of starts getting really upset when we start finding out about her is it Asami, the main character? Her backstory. She starts getting really upset and like sniffly. And then when the movie ends, she's like bawling it.
Aww.
And I'm sitting there like, this is the weirdest reaction I've ever had anyone have to Audition of all movies.
And she was saying, she was like, yeah, but she just doesn't know any better. She doesn't know anything else, and she can't be anything else because she's never been a child.
I do think she comes across as like just deeply damaged and
She is.
dealing with it in her own way, which is violence.
It's all she's ever known.
It is all she's ever known.
I guess the thing of some of the stuff that he says to her about like, oh, you've come through stronger, you've discovered yourself through this violence, you know, that your experience is the pain that you've suffered. And she kind of throws that back at him and is like, well, you're going to experience loss.
So much pain.
Yeah.
And then you'll come out stronger for it because you clearly believe that that's how all of this works, that I'm better off for it. So it feels like kind of throwing that back, that kind of speech that, like, I like the parallel of him giving her that, like, kind of condescending speech and then her sort of, like, sitting on top of him and giving him that same kind of thing of, like, oh, you're gonna grow so much from this. And it's sort of like, okay,
it's great, isn't it?
That's so messed up. Bruna, would you let a friend set you up on a date using a fake film audition?
No, that'd be messed up.
Okay, sorry. I thought it would be a funny question.
No, because like, why would I don't want to trick people into being on a date with me. That doesn't feel like a...
No.
We have a lot of plans to cancel.
We have 1,000 people to call right now.
Oh, so many essays. We read so many of them.
It just feels, I don't know, it feels kind of sleazy. It doesn't feel like the good basis.
No, it doesn't.
If they knew what they were going into, that's fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We should probably do some recommendations. And you can talk to us a bit more about Takashi Miike. You can educate us a bit more about him. Tell us what you know about this guy.
I mean, I don't know a lot about him personally. I know a lot about his, like, filmography and stuff.
We can start there.
I'll start with my favorite fun fact. You've not seen Ichi the Killer.
No.
You should. It's fantastic.
A lot of people bring it up though.
I've got a pin badge and a sticker, and then like I carry them with me everywhere of Kakihara from Ichi the Killer. They're my favorites.
Hold the Blu-ray so people can see it.
It's not a Blu-ray. It's a DVD. Thanks. It's this one.
Okay, go on.
If you manage to grab my bag, I'll show you my little Hello Kitty Kakihara design. It's on the way. Thank you. People can see how cool it is. I get to show it off. Where's my pin? There it is. I don't know if you can see it, but there he is. He's glittery.
Okay.
And my headphones are somewhere else.
So you love Ichi the Killer is what you're saying?
I do. I really love it. It's the movie that kind of made me love movies. Like really
really?
Fall in love with horror specifically. It was this. So in the beginning, the opening scene kind of ends with a shot of this guy jacking off into a plant.
Nice.
Amazing. And it like the title card, Ichi the Killer, rises up from his cum. So fun fact, the director actually had a bunch of people on set, so Takashi Miike, come into a bucket and they used real cum for that scene. So there's your fun fact of the day.
I remember you telling me about this when we were first sort of like starting to watch more movies together and being like, yeah, this is my favorite movie. This is how it starts. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm living with this person. That's like our first year living together.
And this was like, what, 4 years ago now? 3 years ago now?
It was one I desperately tried to find this when I got you the DVD player. Because I was like, I need to give you this and the DVD player, but I just could not at the time. I mean, even this copy is
a little
very messed up.
In my defense, let it be known, I got this copy of Ichi the Killer and my copy of Audition and like a bunch of other ones for like a $5 on Vintage. I got like 20 DVDs for a $5, including those two, so I think I got a pretty sweet deal.
Have you seen this prize draw? We could win up to £100.
I know.
Wow. We should do it.
It's probably like very out of date.
So what makes him special as a director to you?
There's just something, to quote a character in Ichi the Killer, he says something on the lines of, there's no love in your violence, or there's no beauty in your violence, depending on the translation you get. And there's something so beautiful and loving in the way that he portrays violence that I just can't help but love. And there's something, all of his movies are so different. He's done he's done horror, obviously. He's done Westerns. He's done martial arts. He's done romance. He's done action movies. He's done superhero movies. He's done girly pop musical movies. He's done anime adaptations into live action.
He's doing a movie with Charlie XS.
He's doing a movie with Charlie XCX.
Yes.
He's done all kinds of things. And I find that because he does so many varied different, he's done musicals, he's just such a fantastic director that he adapts his style into pretty much anything. I find it so fascinating to see, and I don't know, there's something about it, it's like a car crash, you know, I can't look away from it.
Sure.
No matter what he's doing, he does it with so much passion for it that I'm like, I'm hooked.
Awesome.
I love that he also touches on topics that a lot of people won't touch on. You know, a lot of his movies are about really controversial things, obviously. And like Visitor Q, for example, without spoiling anything, is anything you can think of taboo is in there. And something like Gozu, which is about a half-man, half-cow creature that lactates through the ceiling. He's just... Yeah, he's insane.
A wild imagination, yeah.
I love him for it.
So would you recommend Ichi the Killer then? That's your recommendation. If you like Audition, would you recommend Ichi the Killer?
See, it's difficult because Ichi the Killer is a much more violent.
Okay.
In every way than Audition. And it does depend on like what you were comfortable with watching. It's not a movie I recommend easily, despite it being my favorite movie. Because it deals with a lot of really heavy topics. And I don't know if it always deals with them well.
Okay.
Even though I love it, I don't think it handles a lot of like things like sexual assault very well. So it's a difficult movie to recommend because you have to be a very specific type of person and you have to be comfortable with a lot of things.
With the weird.
Yeah. But if you do like that kind of thing, then yeah, obviously, Ichi the Killer's great. If you just sort of wanting to get into his stuff without getting too heavy, As the Gods Will is pretty good. It's a bit more mainstream. It's still quite horror, quite graphic, but it's not as... It doesn't go into... Yeah, it's a lot more straightforward narratively, and it's a lot easier to stomach.
Okay.
It's one of his more recent ones. Zebra Man is pretty good if you're looking for a superhero one. He's done an adaptation of Ace Attorney, which I've heard is quite good. I'm playing Ace Attorney right now on the DS, so I can't wait to watch that when I'm finally done with the games. Happiness of the Katakaris, I believe is how it's said, is really good. It's, I think, one of his most popular ones, top 3. And I'd say that one's also a bit more, it's a musical horror comedy. I'd say that one's a lot easier to stomach than something like Visitor Q or The Nichi the Killer. If you want to get into, like, I don't know, some of his more unknown stuff, Imprint, which is like a movie he did for Masters of Horror, which was a TV show, absolutely amazing. He also did a short for this collection of 3 short films called 3 Extremes, which is with Park Chan-wook and is it Fruit Chan, I think, is the other guy. And his movie for it is also absolutely fantastic. Can't remember what it's called right now. I think it might be called Cut.
Okay. So the entire filmography is what you're recommending here.
He's done over 100 movies. That is not his entire filmography.
Wow.
13 Assassins, if you want to go for samurai stuff. Sakiaki Western Django, if you want to go for his Western stuff. I think Quentin Tarantino might be in that. Or he's produced it, something.
I see a lot
First Love,
yeah,
it's pretty good. It's kind of like a horror romance thing. He's done so many. He's done over 100.
Clearly, yeah, no, for sure. George, do you recommend any movies that were not mentioned?
Dead or Alive.
What?
It doesn't have to be a Takashi Miike, by the way.
No.
Dead or Alive, that's the one with the dog.
Yes,
and the sister, brother.
Yeah, that weird one. Yeah, see, Takashi Miike, that's not my kind of movie. Audition is not a movie that I would pick to watch myself. I really enjoyed it. I'm trying to think of, like, similar-ish themes. Anora's kind of popping up for me.
Okay.
Oh, yeah?
Women
Very
for...
different
okay.
tone.
Right.
But for me, it's that kind of similar, like, wanting to escape, wanting to be seen, like, as a person. Yeah, it's... nah, to be fair. I was trying to be like, maybe there's times where Audition toes the line of being kind of funny. I feel like the closest you get to that is the Audition scene.
Yeah.
But Anora, for me, that kind of, like, that sense of loss and not being seen as a person, and the, like, I think it's obviously a lot. It's not particularly graphic, but that kind of that like, you're trying to get to know her through the lens of the very domineering people in her life. And for me, that's very similar, like, with Audition. It's like I kind of, like, desperately want to know her more, and I'm not getting that because I'm having to look at it through the lens of, like, our main male character here. And for me, Anora does a very similar thing, where I'm kind of just getting drips and drabs that I'm, like, kind of pulling through. Yeah.
That's really good. That's a really good recommendation. I don't really have a recommendation, really, because I'm having a hard time finding something that's similar. I'm thinking more like, it felt like a bit of a revenge movie towards the end for me, but like a Kill Bill maybe, if you want, but that's like super action-oriented, obviously. A woman who's been wronged seeking revenge, so I guess I'll just go for Kill Bill.
I'd say Possession is probably comparable.
Okay.
In terms of, like, just women losing their goddamn minds over the men who just don't see them as people. You've seen Possession?
We put it on the list yesterday at the social. I think that's on. Like,
you should both watch Possession. It's fantastic. I don't think you're going to particularly like it, but I think you should watch it anyway.
Awesome.
Our flatmate, our housemate, didn't like it, and you guys tend to have similar taste in movies.
Interesting, okay.
But I still think you should watch it.
All right, we'll do.
That was a movie that we watched that does remind me of it a lot, that you didn't actually like that much, where she reviewed Censor.
Censor, yeah.
When it comes to movies about sort of like women who can't be really trusted in, like, their perspectives and things like that, and like men who make film, like obviously the guy that in Censor that she's kind of thinks may have done something wrong is he a porn director or something of the sort? It makes, like,
vaguely
erotic
films of some sort.
There's this woman, and she classifies movies, and there's this kind of, like, weird background of, like, you don't know whether her sister's, like, missing, and there's something around that.
Oh, I think I remember hearing about this movie.
There's while she's kind of losing her mind, and she gets targeted by she classifies a film that then people accuse of having something to do with like a crime, and like it having inspired a crime, and then she watches a movie and she thinks, oh my god, this is the exact scenario of how my sister went missing, and she kind of goes off the rails. But she meets people like along the way of like directors who are making like splatter movies and kind of like erotic movies, and that sort of line of reality is
fair.
it didn't do much for me. I wanted it to do more. I wanted it to go crazy. It kind of just felt a bit like at the end. But I do get what you're saying about. I don't think it's as explicit, but yeah, she interacts especially with a few guys within the industry, and they sort of try and like take advantage of her.
We also recently watched Pleasure,
Yeah,
which you lent us actually.
Don't have to say that to the world. I don't own Pleasure. Yeah, but that's
You do.
obviously- But yeah, I guess I do. Yeah.
Well, you don't because you've given it to us. So
It's a Swedish girl who goes to Los Angeles to try to make it big in the porn industry, and it kind of sucks, doesn't it?
it's just a lot of the same like kind of narratives of like women trying to be seen as people, but not necessarily always being seen
In that
way.
industry, yeah.
For me, though, the difference between like Censor and something like Pleasure is you're seeing it through the perspective of your woman main character.
Sure.
So, for me, that's where it differs. Is I'm like getting more of their internal monologue. I'm following the story with them. Like I'm experiencing what they're having, but I get to see them as people first.
Sure.
Whereas for me, Audition's kind of like the opposite. I don't get to see her as a person first. And for me, that's the same kind of thing with Honora. Is you kind of don't. She very quickly just becomes this accessory to everyone else's needs.
Okay, we got to wrap this up. But before we finish, we need to mention that Eli Roth. Sorry, here, I'll hold it.
There you go.
Eli Roth loves this movie so much. Well, he loves Takashi Miike, right? So much that he invited him on the set of Hostel, which is a movie you might know.
And he's in it.
He's in it for like
Miike.
5 seconds, I think. He's in it.
He speaks to the main character. I really like Hostel. Fun fact. He speaks to the main character as he's coming out. So Takashi Miike's character is coming out of the torture rooms, and the guy asks him, he's like, well, how was it in there? And he says something like, it's everything you've ever dreamed of, and you'll lose your mind and your money in there. And that's pretty much it. But he looks so cool doing it.
This was a really rough movie for me to watch.
Was it?
Well,
I like the second one better.
okay. I just remember the first one. It was the one you watched with your friends, like as a teenager. Everybody would put this on.
That was my first experience. It was like my first proper horror movie. That and the Devil.
I think you're
Ring.
right, yeah.
And it was like, it's the scene where the ankles get sliced, and I was like,
No. It's the scene where her eye gets burned out.
Oh no, for me it was the Achilles heel.
Yeah.
Going.
Well, my bad. All right, there you go. That's all we have time for today. So thank you so much for listening. We are going to be screening. Well, actually, this is releasing on the day it was screened at the Savoy in Nottingham. Follow us on Instagram and all that good stuff. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to support us, a review on Instagram would be amazing, or Spotify. Share this with people, and we'll see you in the next one.
And if you want to come and talk to us in person about films, come and see us at the social.
Yeah, come and see us at the Dead Duck Social, which is once a month. Absolutely. Or at a screening. We do screenings every month.
There we go.
Come see us.
Bye.
Bye.